Hey, what's up you guys? We're back with Forget Me Nots. I know it's been a while, and that's because it's gotten busy, and it's only gonna get busier. But I'm gonna try and be active as best as I can. Alright, I'm just gonna jump into this. It's a pretty short chapter, and I only got time to... I only got enough time to... yeah, finish this. So... right, jumping in. Chapter 5, Panic in the Bathroom. It didn't take long at all before Ed returned, carrying a small plate of toast in one hand and a bowl of steaming rice in the other. I was about to fucking mess up, like, the first few words I couldn't read. Boy, there wasn't a table in the room, but he didn't seem to mind, instead simply sitting down in the small space between Tort's feet and the other side of the couch. Immediately, the gray cat lifted its head and stood up, walking across Tort's legs and curling up in Ed's lap instead. While admittedly disappointed, the freed space meant he could accept the warm bowl from Ed and rest it in his lap quite comfortably. "It's a bit bland," Ed said, catching his cat's chin. What? Catching? Fuck! Scratching his cat's chin. Oh god. Yeah, if you haven't noticed, I still haven't gotten better. But it'll be better if you didn't have to throw up later. Thank you, Tord replied, his mind still stuck on the questions he wanted to ask. Starting with the gun was probably the best thing, especially since it was nagging him the most. He had woken up with that broken hunk of metal. While it seemed worthless, maybe it would shed some light on something related to how he lost his memory. Beyond that, though, he felt wrong without it. He didn't want it just left somewhere where anyone would be able to pick it up and make it off with it. My dog is scratching at the door. God fucking damn it, Cookie. I'm trying to record. But anyway, I can't stop this recording. And I don't have time to edit it, so... this is all raw. Would you happen to have picked up the gun that was with me? He asked, grasping the fork sticking out of the bowl with his left hand, but didn't actually lift out of the rice. Whatever. It was red and had a huge hole in one side, missing a lot of wires and metal on the inside. Actually, yeah, if you... well, it's not really noticeable, but I do take time to record multiple things, like multiple readings, and then I just choose the one that just pans out the best. This is the first recording. And I just lost my place. God fucking damn it. Nope, found it. Oh, you mean your memory eraser gun? Ed responded, picking up a piece of toast off the small plate and taking a bite out of it. I put it on the kitchen table. Did his memory eraser gun, like, what's that thing? Like, there was no safe mode, and he dropped it, and then it just shot fired towards him, and erased his memory. Is that what happened? What? Tord responded, dumbfounded by this answer. A memory eraser gun? What the hell was that? As far as he knew, what kind of thing didn't exist? That kind of thing didn't exist. My ability to read well doesn't exist. The closest thing you could probably get would be a memory eraser baseball bat, but that would just be a normal bat used on heads instead of baseballs. Head trauma sometimes caused memory loss, after all. Was a memory eraser gun supposed to be a common thing? He could remember cars in terms of technology, but maybe he was missing some information about common objects used to thanks to his memory loss. I'm sorry I'm bulleting through this. It's been 3 weeks, and like, this is the only time I found to do some recording. Yeah, I had to go back for it in the bag of cola I bought after I dropped it off. I put it on the table so Ringo wouldn't go near it. No, Tor replied, rubbing the backside of his forehead with his left hand, leaving the bowl of rice lying on his lap, untouched and uneaten. Ethan? Fucking uneaten? Alright! Untouched and uneaten. His stomach had stopped making noise several days ago, and at this point, the pain was normal and easier to suppress. Sure, some part of him knew it was better to eat and wanted to eat something, but his curiosity was getting the better of him here. I mean, what is that? What is a memory eraser gun? It's, as the title implies, it's a gun that erases memory, Tord. I thought you knew that. What? It's a gun, Ed replied, setting the plate of toast down on the arm of the couch. Balancing it carefully so he could resume petting his cat. That makes you lose all your memories. Duh. He glanced down at the bowl of rice in Tord's lap before looking back up at him, a slight frown creeping onto his face. Did Tord just have, like, a massive brain fart or what? Okay. You need to eat. The most important thing right now is that you get better. You can't do that unless you eat a little. He nodded towards the bowl, and Tord looked down, staring at the rice nestled in his lap. He knew he had to eat. He wasn't trying to avoid it or anything like that. He just wanted his questions answered, and that was all. Of course, Ed's logic was sound. Lifting his left arm again, he grasped the fork again and began to move the rice around in the bowl. Yes, but, he started to say, still looking at the rice before a hand came to rest on his shoulder. Flinching back slightly at the contact, even though it had not been on his injured shoulder, he glanced up at Ed before looking away, staring back down at the rice in his lap. This is sexual harassment! Yeet! God, I'm a mess. Yes, but, God, I already read fucking that. Fuck! I know you have a lot of questions, but at least eat first, okay? You don't need to scramble to try to learn everything all at once. Take some time and make sure you are actually well first. This Ed is too beanie baby for me. Actually, he's perfect. But I am still expecting him to be an asshole in this. He hadn't eaten all that much of the rice before his throat started to feel weird and his stomach began to twist, leaving him with still half of the already small bowl left over. After deciding this was apparently enough food for him for the time being, Ed pulled him into the bathroom and had him sit down on the edge of the tub. He complied without protest and sat somewhat awkwardly on the small rim, his arm hanging at his side as he looked back at Ed for instructions and guidance. It's tile in here, so it'll be easier to clean up, he explained as he looked towards right arm. May I? He asked. After a small pause, Tord nodded once, and his hand was gently grasped and his arm lifted up. Moving slowly, he lifted a small pair of scissors and began to cut through the bandages, snipping the blood-stained cloth away from his arm, starting at the wrist. Ooh, that is one nice image. No sarcasm there. Layers upon layers of fabric fell to the floor as they were cut away, slowly, up to his elbow. About halfway up, he began to see the first real signs of injury. A huge gash sliced across his arm. It was jagged around the edges from what he could see, and you could see some kind of dark red stripping across a portion of it. It took him a moment before he realized they were metal staples stuck into his arm that had been stained stark red by his own blood. Another cut revealed more of the gash and more blood. And more. And more. I love that image. Sorry, I'm a horror fanatic. Anyway, his breath caught in his throat as he abruptly pulled away, jerking his arm back towards his chest. Stop, he whispered, holding his own wrist below the bandages and the injuries that had been revealed. He couldn't do this. He felt sick just looking at his own blood. Oh, come on, grow up. He couldn't stand up to see what had been under the bandages. His stomach twisted around at just the thought of looking at it. He felt dizzy and lightheaded. Okay, actually, I can understand, if a horror fanatic, for me, if I see it and it's not on me, then I'm just like, okay. But if I see it and it's on me, I'm just like, okay. But with a little more, well, shit, this sucks. So, I can understand this. Tord. He couldn't breathe again. It was, oh god, that was so monotonous. I'm sorry, I'm not getting into it. I am into it, but it's I have to kind of rush myself. Yikes. He couldn't breathe again. It was just like before, but without the thunder and lightning. Fucking lightning! But when he looked down at his arm and saw red on the staples, he couldn't breathe. His entire body tensed up as a hand came to rest gently on his shoulder. Looking up, his vision blurred briefly before he managed to focus on Ed. Tord, it's alright. No, he choked out in response as another hand patted his back reassuringly. He held his own arm close, refusing to allow Ed to get closer to him. He didn't want anyone to touch his arm. It would be fine as long as nobody touched it. I promise, Tord, you're going to be fine. Oh god. Don't touch me. Mood! Tord replied faintly, squeezing his eyes shut. Immediately the hand on his shoulder and the one on his back were removed, leaving him sitting on his own again. After a moment he cracked open an eye, daring to look at what Ed was doing. He had taken to sitting down on the floor, watching him carefully, but no longer getting as close or touching him. "Tord, it's alright, I won't remove any more of the bandages, okay? I just need you to breathe." Nodding at the reminder, he sucked in a sharp breath. It was fine. He was alright. The bandages could stay on for now. It was 1 or 2 extra days. This hadn't been nearly as bad as the storm, but it was still scary to think of how close he had come to experiencing the same thing again. Breath. I'm really forcing myself to talk fast. My brain is moving faster than what I'm speaking right now. Fuck. Whatever. I just need a moment alone toward... Oh. I'll do this. One seriously. Low-key. Just need a moment alone, Tord whispered. I'm sorry. That was terrible. He closed his eyes again and listened silently as the door to the bathroom opened, then creaked closed before finally shutting with a soft thud. He knew he'd have to take the bandages off eventually. The injury could be dangerous if left untreated. But how was he supposed to do that if he couldn't even stand to look at his own arm without panicking? Slowly standing, he shuffled over to the wall and hit the light switch, plunging the bathroom into darkness. Sitting down on the floor, he cradled his right arm silently with his left. He felt a little better without the harsh bathroom lights on and with silence in the room. He just needed a few minutes and then he'd be fine. I can't fucking believe I just read all of that without messing up. Yay! Just a few minutes. That was all. The end of chapter 5. This is getting good, and I want to go to chapter 6, but I don't have time for that right now, and the reason why I'm rushing myself is because, I love my YouTube channel. I like my fans. And it's like, I don't want to disappoint. That's on me. It doesn't really stress me out all that much, but it's like if it's 3 weeks without updating, it's a problem for me. So yeah, time to get busy. Yeah. Anyway, make sure to hit or tap that subscribe button. Oh god. I can't even say my own outro right. Make sure to hit fucking... Ugh. That like and subscribe button are kinky bastards. Make sure you give them a good hit. They'll enjoy that. Yeah. Dork. Out.